Up next, ladies and gentlemen, but before that, I want all of you to put your hands together once again for the brilliant thoughts Chandik Hathurusinghe has shared with us. Up next, we will have a panel discussion. And to lead the panel discussion, I think I will first invite our moderator, Dumidu Ranavira. He's here with us. I think the setup will take place now. The chairs will take stage also. Along with our speakers, we don't have Neela Marikar with us. She's left early for some important engagement. But we have two of our speakers, that is Chandika Hathurusinghe is with us, along with Kishu Gomes. Two more people will join us for the panel discussion. One of them is Supun Veerasinghe. He is the Group Chief Executive of Dialog Axiata PLC, starting this year. Before he made his way back to Dialog, he was the CEO and Managing Director of Robi Axiata Limited in Bangladesh from 2014 to 2016. Prior to joining Robi, Supun served as the Group Chief Strategy Officer of Axiata Group Berhad in Malaysia. At Axiata, he also served as the Head of Network Transformation Strategic Business Unit, under which he led the Group Technology, Career Collaboration, and Axiata Intelligence Unit. Prior to his assignment to the Axiata Group in 2013, Supun was the Group Chief Operating Officer of Dialog. He started his career in telecommunication in Dialog in 1999 and held multiple roles such as Head of Strategy and CEO of Mobile Business before being appointed as Group Chief Operating Officer in 2010. He has an MBA from the University of Western Sydney, Australia, and is an alumnus of the Harvard Business School. Supun was also honored as one of Sri Lanka's top 10 outstanding young professionals by the Junior Chamber of Commerce, Junior Chamber International, Sri Lanka. We've set up, along with Supun, we also have another man joining us for the panel discussion. I won't take a long time to introduce him because he doesn't need one. Everybody knows him. I'll just simply say, Sri Lanka's best left-hand batting sensation, Kumar Sangakara. He's there with us too. So I'd like everyone to take your seats, please. First up, Dumidu, Supun, Chandika, Kishu, and of course, Kumar. I think before Dumidu starts the session, I'm going to start it off with just one question. Kishu and Chandik have spoken. Kumar, we've had long chats and just before he came. So I'm going to put my first question to Supun about change itself. Change, yeah, we've spoken a lot of change. We've heard the term change. People say change management. Supun, what I want to ask you in particular is your shift from, I'm sure this question has been asked in various ways, but I'm going to ask the question again, just to put paradigm to the people who are sitting here. The change from Robi back to Dialog. You were the CEO there, you are the CEO of Dialog now. Before you came, I'm sure you would have had a set thoughts, okay, this is how Dialog is going to be when I come back. Is it the real Dialog that you thought of, or has it been different? And how have you managed that change? That is a question, Supun. So thank you so much, everyone. I leave it to Dumidu and also to Supun to answer the question. Thanks, everyone. Please put your hands together for the panel and Dumidu once again.
Yeah, thank you. Dumidu is supposed to be the moderator. I didn't expect Ajmal to throw questions at me. Anyways, yeah, but just before answering that, I've been always keeping a very close contact with the team Dialog, because that is where I grew up and always had a lot of learnings even while I was away. So it wasn't really, though I was away for 4 years, it was much more closer to home rather than completely going away. Having said that, I was involved fairly deeply with the planning cycle for this year from July. But when I came back fully, got into the deep end, some of the challenges actually what we had in Bangladesh and which we overcame over the 3 years, when I came back here and today, I see that same things being challenges here. thought while I was there, some of them would have been overcome here, but it is not the case. And it is also a cycle. What I conclude is that it's also a cycle, that business cycle, each country, each market that has to go through. But having those learnings certainly helps to navigate them better. The other key aspect that I take comfort is in with the team that we have here, the great API Dialog team, that is very united and works to overcome any challenge. I think we have faced as a team all the challenges that we can think of, but being together as one team, one family, gives that strength, confidence that we can navigate through compared to the challenges or the same challenge that I would have had in Bangladesh. So, little different to what I thought. Some of the stuff that I had, again, having to go through is a bit frustrating, but again, as I think Chandika mentioned, it's a learning experience and development experience. Building people. It's how I see.
Thanks, Supun. I think Ajmal just took one question away from me. All right, let me just follow up with one question on the same thing, Supun. Like you mean managing different generations of people in different set of cultures. You've been in Axiata, you've been in Bangladesh. What is the process of change or this whole notion of creating inspiration that you used to adapt in each situation?
Yeah, I think again you would encounter people who are maybe 10 years older than you, 20 years older than you that you have to manage, or 20 years younger, and different spectrum of expertise. But the key is to respect them and try and work together as a team. And once you give respect, that is how you can also earn respect. And everyone brings a lot of capability, values to the table. And what I always believe is that none of us are better than all of us. Together we have so much of strength, capability, and they will come from different backgrounds, different areas of expertise. But when we work together, that is when you can create something magical. If you think that I am superior to everybody else, then that is the beginning of your downfall. So giving that respect, recognizing everyone's capabilities and working together as a team is how I always looked at making the most of all those opportunities.
Thanks for the sharing, Supun. So let me go towards Sangakkara, and before I go there, I would like to say he was not the best left-hand cricketer for Sri Lanka, but he was the best ever left-hand batsman the world has ever seen. The stats are there to prove. And my question to you, Sanga, now you've been in playing for Sri Lanka, playing for different environments, and the consistency of performance is unparalleled to many. And how do you keep your entire performance abreast, irrespective of these different conditions, situations that you used to operate as a player?
Well, first of all, good afternoon and thank you for having me, and it was very enlightening listening to Kishu and then Hathu and of course Supun. And it is a lot of interest, I think, not just to all of you, but to me, coming in from a sports background. When it comes to performance and consistency, to me, consistency means only one thing: improvement. Because consistency is always an upwardly mobile benchmark, because you are competing against others who are innovating, who are thinking differently, strategizing to get ahead. And for you, as a competitor in a cricket team, if you are to believe that what you do is good enough, really, because it's worked on one day, that's never going to be enough or good enough for you to be able to win and face a challenge that is continuously changing. My processes have been very, very simple. I always concentrate on my training first. I try and do an analysis of what I might face, what the opposition is like, and what I want to achieve for that particular series, whether it's 100, 200s or 300s. But my entire basis is built on my preparation, on my strategy, how I'm going to go about, what my processes are, so that by the time I execute my processes, I will get to where I want to go. My entire confidence is built on my training. So even if I go on one day and I don't score well, I can always trust my processes, because I know that my processes, or I will tweak my process so that the next time I'm better prepared and more able to adapt to what's prepared or what I'm facing that day. Because cricket is a funny thing. You need to have long-term. We're back to the start, and this is very much like cricket, because it's not like it's not like anything else. Because even if you score 100, the next game you start again from scratch in a completely new and different situation. So it's like the mic. We went through 3, but came back to the same one. And even if I'm not successful, I will go back because my processes have been successful. And if I think that if I'm in any doubt, I will tweak and add depending on where I'm going to. If I'm going to Australia, I'll have a guy bowl at me from a shorter run up, you know, and practice on fast bowling a bit more. I'll tweak all of those things. But in cricket, it's a funny thing. You need to have a long-term plan, but at the same time, you have to be ready to adapt to what's coming at you on that day. Because stats will show you one thing. The history of the ground will show you one thing. Your team on that day will show you one thing. The opposition on the day will show you one thing. But all of these are very fluid, because in cricket you're playing on a natural surface. Weather has an effect. Conditions of the ball changes from hour to hour. A situation of the game changes from hour to hour. And your physical and mental levels of concentration and fatigue changes from, well, really less than an hour, but let's say hour to hour. So it's a really challenging environment to be in. So preparation is important. Being able to adapt, identify situations very quickly is very, very important, to stay fluid, and also to build up a process of concentration whereby you are able to break down passages of play into little manageable components. All of this goes a long way towards me being successful. And I'm pretty happy at the fact that a lot of the ideas that I used to talk to Hathu when Hathu was coaching, I used to talk to coaches. But one of the most important things that I always did, and Hathu will vouch for that because he used to send me texts at times, why aren't you tapping your bat anymore? Why are you lifting your bat this way? Because to me, there are tried and tested methods, yes, that have been successful for me. But I always think for me to advance, to get better, to beat the competition, to stay ahead, I have to change. And sometimes I have to change the very basic fundamentals that I've been brought up believing in, especially when it comes to cricket. So from the way I've lifted my bat to the way I hold it, to the way I tap it, all my time, everything is open to change for me. Is open to analysis, realistic analysis, and then positive change with the plan. So that has been my motto since I started. And this process of change for the better, inevitable change, and having the courage to keep doing it, and being able to invest a failure or two along the way, has really stood me in good stead.
Especially when you, there's a lot of talk about passion. Was cricket your original passion because you were good in your studies in law, and then you were a good tennis player? And what made you select this And was this the original passion that you had in your mind?
Let me correct you. I was an ordinary, average tennis player, maybe good in a local Sri Lankan sense, to a certain level. But no, I had a lot of different passions. Cricket was one of them, but I never took to cricket thinking I'll represent the country. I got to representing my country at cricket in a kind of an accidental way, where I came to Colombo to go to university. I had a 2-year wait because of the backlog after the JVP issues. I was walking down to join CCC to play some cricket because I found a job. And on the way, I passed the gates of NCC, where Asoka De Silva, former cricket umpire, former test cricketer, was there, and said, "Where are you going?" I said, "CCC." He said, "Well, why don't you come and play here?" I said, "Okay." Joined NCC. And 2 years later, something in me changed, and I actually started scoring runs. I was never a remarkable school cricketer. And I was in the A side before I knew it. But I had one piece of advice that my father gave me when I was very young, and he said, "Listen, if you are going to spend a lot of time doing something, please learn to do it as well as you possibly can." And that's been something I've held on to all my life, because I agree a lot with when Mr. Gomes said, your competition is usually yourself at the end, because to me, my target when I'm competing is to be the best that I can be. And if I explore every avenue to get there, that is usually enough to beat a lot of people. Not everyone, unfortunately, but a lot of people. And that, to me, is what I've always explored, to be the best, to be the best. Along the way, you will beat others. Sometimes you will meet your match, but then you start again. You change, you innovate, you try and get ahead again. So when I started my cricket seriously and actually found out a lot about myself as a person, how to change myself to get to where I want to go, how I changed my own cricket, or my perspectives and my ambitions to change as my career grew, evolved into a very, very deep passion for the sport and a genuine love for the sport. It was not that I picked up a bat and thought, "Oh my God, I love what I do." It took time, but with time, I actually developed that passion, and it lasted 17, 18 years. And when the passion was on the wane, I decided to leave. And this is something I always tell my son. Sometimes my son comes back and tells me, "I really don't like this." I said, "Have you tried it?" He says, "I tried it." I said, "Listen, try it and practice at it, get a bit better at it, and you might be surprised that you actually, after a while, get to enjoy this." So it took a while, but I'm very happy that I invested that time in cricket, because it stood me in very good stead, and I'm invited here today. Also, one of the reasons is just that.
Righty. So let me move on to Chandika. I think from the brief that I had with you, and your entire life story has just been, I get knocked out, but I get up again, and you've been a real fighter of a person. But so I just want to understand, in your whole way of getting back up there, being sacked from a job at a particular point of time, and now today you are one of the leading coaches the entire world is looking up to. And what was the process that you adopt day in and day out when you get into a situation that you need to rise up again? What is the whole process that you adopt? If you could...
Yeah, actually, that's the one I was to talk about, and then I was deviated with the change. Anyway, so from the beginning, I had challenges because I was born to a family that my father was a soldier and mother was nurse. And my younger days was really, really good, because I had everything in life like a normal person, and we just played in our environment. Like I used to go back and play cricket till I get late and all that. So we had really good. I had really good childhood to say, and then when it come to this schooling, and I was at age of I think 11, and I tried to come to Ananda College and knocked down. They said okay, because I was doing well in another school and tried to get into Ananda College as a cricketer, and they said, oh, we have 15 odd players like that. And then I did O levels and then came to Ananda, and I was not selected in the first 11 team, playing second 11, and somehow I got into national team, to Sri Lanka under 19 team, without playing a single game for first 11. I think that's what's the first and probably the last will happen. And then, because if you're not good enough to play for your school, you can't be good enough to play for your national team. That happened because I was playing club cricket. So when I was young, when I was 14 years old, I was playing with older people at Tamilunian cricket. So probably that's helped me a lot in my thinking, the way I look at the game and how I understand now. So that's one good learning process, stepping stone for me. Then again, for the Sri Lanka team, I think I was standby 1990, now 91. And one of our openers in New Zealand got injured. And the first standby was one player called Hathurusinghe. He's a much better player than me. And at that time, he decided not to come for practice because he was angry that he was standby. And then I was sent as a replacement, and then I made my test debut. I started scoring runs. And then you rightly mentioned about Alan Donnell, and 1993, he got me out 7 times out of 8, and then I lost my place again. Then I came back again into the national team. 1995, I was the highest test run scorer for that year. And then I lost my place again for Sanat Jayasuriya, and because he started opening and then started scoring, and rest is history. That's happened. Good for the Sri Lanka cricket and world cricket, and not good for me because I lost my place. So it was interesting. Then again, yes, yeah, I told you the other changes that happened and challenges. And I was the first overseas or non-Australian to coach New South Wales cricket team for 140 odd years. And that happened also within a week. I lost my CEO, chairman and head coach. They all sacked within 3 weeks. And I was end up with the New South Wales team was captained by Michael Clark, and it's an Australian captain, and a lot of big players with a lot of big egos. I had to manage all that and on my own. That's why I said that being authentic is always easier to do. So then we did well, and then I was offered another big challenge, coaching Sydney Thunder. Sydney Thunder was Cricket Australia's pet project because their BBL franchises is the biggest franchise, biggest market. So they want somebody to coach that team. So I was given the responsibility with Michael Hussey, who just retired at that time. And so all the challenges, all I did was that being myself. And one thing I knew that I had a good knowledge about the game. I was very analytical. I always asked why and how and when things happen. So if you question, I mean, in any walk of life, if you always question yourself, always question why we do things, when we can do things, and how it happened, that you get answers. So that's my way of doing things, and always I question myself whether I'm doing it right or wrong, or my team is doing right or wrong. So we're looking for continuous improvement.
Item question that I'm getting all the time are a lot of questions in line with this. What should Sri Lanka as a team should do to beat Bangladesh in the third ODI and at least square the series?
The question has changed. Bangladesh
Yeah, it is.
What Sri Lanka has to do? I think, yeah, they have to play well. There's nothing wrong with Sri Lanka. Actually, talent-wise, Sri Lanka has a lot of talent. I'm not going to say where it's wrong, but I think if they play to their capabilities, Sri Lanka is a very difficult team to beat at home. The one advantage we have at this stage is we 1-0 up, so all the pressure is with Sri Lanka team. They need to make all the play. And looking at the wicket also today, I don't know whether they know what they're doing. So they're still not prepared proper. Wicket is not prepared. So there's a lot of, what can I say, confusion. But you can't take Sri Lanka team lightly. They're pretty good team at home, and if you show a last game, and when they get a good start, they're always a dangerous team.
Another question, follow-up question. If you're given the chance back again to apply your art to the Sri Lankan cricket team, will you come back?
I'm hoping that Bangladesh is not listening to this one. Cricket board officials are here, so I have to be careful. I will always, who I am today because of Sri Lanka cricket. And I learn all my trade and everything because I play for Sri Lanka. And so one day, I will love to give it back. As Kishu said, that's what the way he's giving it back. We all love to give something back to the community and our country. So yeah, when the opportunity comes, I will come one day.
Yeah? All right, let me ask one question from Kishu Gomes, and then we'll open the floor for questions.
Maybe that I'll also tell a little bit of the deal I had with Hathu when we sponsored the Bangladesh team in 2014. I said, Hathu, I need you to stay here till end of 2016. But after that, most likely I'll go back. And you should also not stay beyond 2016, and you should come back. So I came back, but still he is there. So we need to get him back.
It'll happen soon, I guess.
You've been successful at very young age in your career, and you've been successful in different spheres. And of course, one of the success stories is at Coca-Cola, making it a market leader from the position that they were in. So how do you go about this day in and day out of your process of bringing in success? And how do you change you've been thrown out different challenges? How do you tackle those things and still get to the goal you want to get in for companies or for yourself?
I can give you a very, very short answer, but I don't think that will go well with the audience here. Yeah, my short answer is nothing but hard work. The books will, talk about various philosophies. So-called gurus will come up with theories, new theories, all of that. But at the end, though people don't sort of receive it that way, is nothing but hard work. It's how you apply yourself, how you sort of convert everything you got in you into real value. You talked about Coca-Cola. It was a great, team effort. And when I joined the organization, I wouldn't, tell you the years, then you'll be able to guess my age, which I don't want you to do. No, I have no issues with it. I'm only kidding. We had only 35% market share. Elephant House then was the market leader with lion market share, and there were a few other players, small players, selling not carbonated water, but, different other beverages. So it was indirect competition, but obviously, as we all know, for any industry in Sri Lanka, you have a very, very small market. So unless you have the scale, it's very, very difficult for you to be able to make profit. So, yeah, we had a very, very, good team that worked together. we had the guidance coming from Coca-Cola principals, and in my profile, like I said that, I'm the one who introduced pre-selling to Sri Lanka, which is true. And it was successful for Coca-Cola, and then all the other companies obviously started emulating that, and every single company today does pre-selling. Yeah, I mean, in my case, if I may extend that a bit, I was a winner from my childhood. I spent more time, like I guess these two, doing sports than spending time in the class. I couldn't, unfortunately, continue my athletic career, having been the national 110-meter hurdles champion and 5 years Colombo district champion, which most people don't know. But as a result, just for information, tomorrow you'll see Platinum Awards, and I head up the jury together with 4 Olympians and Tilakratna Dilshan, representing the cricket arena to be able to do the selection proper. So, for what I did, I had admiration, and I was, when I was small, I wasn't looking this horrible. I was looking good, nice looking guy. So everyone, used to sort of, admire me and play with me, all of that. So I thought, recognition is the best thing one can have in life. So since I had that kind of recognition, and I'm into so many other areas as well, that's why I said, go to my Facebook, you'll see me, and I sing, I do modeling, and I run, and you name it, I do everything, right? There isn't anything that I don't do. So that's my brand. Not that I'm good in doing anything, but so that recognition coming at a very early age, and me starting to sort of enjoy that feeling, and I thought, wow, and if I can do something in order to be able to maintain that feeling with continued recognition, that would be my purpose of living. So for which, obviously, whatever the field you are in, you have to work hard. And Sangakara, explain about the process he goes through. That's not easy work or smart work. People can use those words, but we all know that it's hard work, right? So I guess I can go on and on. I have a weakness. When I start talking, I don't stop. So maybe take the questions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Kishu. So let me open this up to the forum. I mean, you can just fire in questions. I'm sure there's a mic going around. Yeah, over there. You can take this.
Hi, I'm Musab, and I have 2 questions actually, one for Kumar Sankara and next for Mr. Gomes. With regard to your statement, think short term and medium and not long term. Well, most of us, we are just in our midterm of the careers, and we are looking long term to proceed with. And we have long term visions, but I believe you should have long term visions with short term goals, with short term winnings. And with your statement over there, it gets you a bit of thinking in the process. So I just want to know, how would you advise the young community or the aspiring future entrepreneurs or business professionals with that statement?
Yeah, okay. So I started by saying that you got to have a vision, and where I told you that you got to sort of look at the horizon that you want to play the game in, and then really recognize the desired position you need to be in. When I got to the statement I made at the end where I said think short term, not long term, I meant application, execution, right? Long term vision is paramount, and without that, you will not know where to go. So you got to, get that in place. But when you apply yourself, you got to perform day in, day out, right? And if I may just extend that a bit, a lot of our young employees, you all want promotions, right? you all want promotions. I have nowhere else to go other than leaving the country and, doing a regional job or global job, which I will never ever do. Don't telecast this. Chevron guys, if they listen to it from the US, they'll say, this guy is not a high potential candidate, he's out of the high, these things happen. Anyway, I don't mind. So, so the issue is, a lot of people work for promotions, and that comes at the expense of performance in the current job you're doing. You got to understand that your supervisor looking for current performance. You got to prove yourself in the current job. So all I tell the younger generation is, don't worry about promotions. Promotions are not decisions for you. Those are decisions for your leaders, your supervisors, your managers. Just perform at your best in the given job, then your supervisors will look at you and pass their judgment on you, right? So again, coming back to the straight, direct question you had for me, think short term. When you apply yourself, you have to keep delivering results. Supun can't, present a plan to the principals and say, I have a 5-year plan, and after 5 years, I'm going to deliver a bottom line of 10 billion rupees, but let me live with 500 million rupees in 2017. He'll be fired, I'll tell you that, right? So he can present that, 10 billion plan. Of course, government will then come up and, come up with a creative idea and have another super gain tax or something like that. But that's another issue which I got caught to, and Dialog got caught as well. 30 companies getting caught to it. It's that, right? Because we don't know what tomorrow will be. It's very, very hard to sort of predict and assume. So you better look at the given environment. You expect to deliver short-term results anyway. So you just, keep delivering short-term results. And when you keep delivering short-term results, that will prepare you for the long-term as well. The competencies you require, the capacity you require, the skills you require, all that will naturally come, in that whole process. And that will make you a competitive, individual for the long-term as well.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Gomes. And next one is for Kumar Sankar. Well, this is with regard to your career in sports, and now you are well known to be a businessman in the industry, and it's something that's rising up. So what's your advice from a shift that you have done a major change from sports to businessman? Any advices for future entrepreneurs you would like to give from business professionals to being a businessman?
Well, I think I still do what I know. And to do what I don't know, which is a lot to do with business, I try and hire the best people to do it for me. And that is something that I do a lot of work with Mahela, and both of us have agreed upon. It hasn't been a huge change. It's been an interesting one. And when you say business, we're at a very early stage, very rudimentary structure. But it's presented different challenges. And for me, yes, there are lots of lessons that I've learned while playing sport about myself, about man management, about relationships, communications, connections, all of these things that are at times applicable. But there are lots of things that I'm still learning. And I've got a lot to learn. I have surrounded myself with good people with high skill and competence, so that I have a grace period in which to actually, become competent in those areas. I'm not sure whether we've had short-term success, which has been quite satisfying, and the next few years will be quite interesting, challenging, yes, but also interesting. So let's see where we get to. But I think one of the biggest things that I've learned from my cricket was you have to take risks. Some of them are calculated risks, and most of the time I think in cricket we take calculated risks. And that's something, when we go into a venture, when we do something because it is an unknown to us, there is a certain element of risk. And our appetite for risk has been slightly more than probably a normal person. And that has enabled us to, sometimes take a leap of faith, which sometimes is not the best way to do things. But for us, it has worked up to now. But as we go along, I think we have to be a lot more clinical, a lot more knowledgeable, and educated in exactly where we want to go and how we want to do things. So I wouldn't be able to give you a very comprehensive answer. All I can really say is that I, like you, am still learning. So our success in everything we've started, the bottom line in the next few years will be witnessed. So fingers crossed.
All the best.
What would be the next change for Sangakkara post-cricket?
Well, I've been post-cricket for 2 years, really. In the cricketing sense, I'm a has-been.
Get a role?
No,
no.
See, I think I had this same question put to me earlier. If you want to commentate, it has to be on your own terms. It has to be the freedom to say what you want to say rather than being dictated to by a network to say what they believe you should be saying.
The whole proposal of becoming an ambassador for another nation, representing Sri Lanka.
I think there are a host of other people who are a lot more suitable and a lot better trained than I am in diplomacy and the foreign service, who will do a much better job than I would in those positions. For me, I know cricket. I've had relative success with cricket. I have been able to transfer some of the learnings and some of the benefits that I've received from that into other areas of life, some into business. But I think my next few years will be exploring how I can grow, whether it's in a business venture, whether it's with the Foundation of Goodness or the IAT Trust that we've just started construction on. But most importantly also with my families, because I always believe that life, like everything we talk about, the theme is change, it changes. Cricketers come and go, records are established and then broken. Companies come and go, billion-dollar companies go under. And some of the things that we do today may not even be relevant, 100 years down the line. I think the real thing that we all leave behind is a legacy of connections with other people. And the real success I believe I'll have is with the people I connect with, the people I'm able to influence positively. And so that means not just the friends or the people I talk to today, but a lot to do with my family and my children. So hopefully be of benefit to them and be of positive influence to them, so that whatever I have done and achieved in life, and whatever lessons I've learned, because a lot of the people that we call role models, we know nothing about, zero, other than the books they've written, or what others have said of them, or the things that they built, which are quite impersonal, really. So I think for me is to see whether my thoughts, my values, my ideas, ideals could transfer into someone else. Hopefully we should make them a little more successful in what they do.
So any more questions? Yes.
Hi. I have two questions, both to Mr. Hathurusinghe. One just out of curiosity, I used to be really small when he was playing cricket, and I had no much idea about cricket, but I used to love the way he wear that scarf around his head when he wear the helmet. So that's the thing I remember from childhood. So I'm just asking out of curiosity, what was the reason behind the scarf? And the second question, a bit more serious one. So when you took over as head coach of Bangladesh, maybe you said you did few changes. What were the main 3 changes you did within the team to get them up to this success? Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, the first one I will answer. You can see the reason is now. The reason is that because when I was just come out of school, we were not wearing helmet in school cricket that time, believe it or not. Then Roshan Mahanam gave me his whole helmet. And I took to one of the shops and asked him to repad inside. And that was at Hunupiti Road, Bandula Varnapur had a sports shop. And he didn't do a good job. So, so when I was wearing that, and after some time, it get heated and stuck on my hair. And I had nice hair those days, actually. I had really curly hair, so I loved my hair. So to protect that, I put that one. So, and then become a fashion. The second question is, the biggest three changes, or I can say two changes, is that we made it with Bangladesh cricket, the way they approach their training. They used to train on low intensity for a long time. So that's one thing I addressed. And the other thing is the belief. They didn't have the belief of that they can play another level. That I think is comes from the environment. The environment was not great for them to do things or take decision or innovate things, because everyone in Bangladesh, and Supun probably will say yes to this, because who have even not guys who have not played cricket have expert opinion on how the things should go, especially the this is going on there, so I can't say. So, so that's one thing. I'm in between person. I give them a lot of confidence that it's okay to fail. It's okay to try things and see what you can do and where you can get. So those are the big changes. And I'll give you just example. Just before the 2014 World Cup, when we were training, we gave two batsmen, one of the two leading batsmen, Mushfiq and Riyad, we call it situation practice. We gave them 5 overs of target. You have 2 wickets in hand, approach this. So this is between, say, 17th to 23rd overs. So they approach that, and then I gave them both same guys. They were batting on the 45th to 50th over, and same target. And first one they couldn't achieve, the second one they achieved, the same bowlers. Their approach was totally different just because of that 45th and the 50th over, they were more attacking. And when that finished, I asked one question: what was the difference in your approach with that when it's 17th and 23rd or 22nd to 40th and 50th? Oh, they said, that time you were trying to work it around. And last 5 overs, we have to hit. Why? Can't you do the same thing if you're the same wicket 5 minutes ago? So that kind of a mindset they had before. There are certain ways of you have to do it, things. This is the way we have to approach. We have to do things. So those kind of thinking, I gave them freedom to think differently. So now you can see that they were not afraid about failures. I mean, it's good for in your general life as well. If you are afraid of outcomes, you won't take decision. So that's the biggest 2 changes I think we made in Bangladesh cricket.
I have one question for Mr. Kishu and the Supun. It's very difficult to come to the pinnacle of success when you are very young. So maybe when you are in your age 30s, what have you done differently? Kishu, you are from sales and marketing background, and my background also from sales and marketing. So I would like to know from Supun, I know you are from finance background, but within a very short period of time, both of you have been to the pinnacle of success. What's the secret behind your success, and what have you done differently to achieve this within a very short period of time in your life?
Yeah, I think a good part of that answer was given by Kishu earlier, the main point about hard work. I think there's no shortcut. All of us and all of you all by now know that there are no shortcuts, and if you take a shortcut, again you'll have to pay for it. So hard work is the mantra, but I think with that you can't also, hard work alone will not help it if you combine that with maximizing every opportunity that you get. You take opportunity as a challenge. I always take opportunities as challenges as opportunities. When I had to go to Bangladesh, for example, from Malaysia, it was much better life, quality of life to stay in Malaysia, but going to Bangladesh was completely a different ball game, different experience. But it also made who I am today, to face challenges, to handle scale, large volumes, much tougher environment. So if I had not taken that opportunity, I wouldn't have got that learning. So every challenge I always take as an opportunity and try to give the best shot at it. Always the best shot. It's not that I will try and save something for tomorrow, or I'll try and give it the next time around. You have to always give that best consistently, day after day. Because again, it is what you will leave behind, what you will also learn from that experience. Because I think most of the time I've seen that opportunities that come along, people don't take wholeheartedly and grab it with both arms and give the best shot. And when the opportunity is not taken, somebody else will take it. No opportunity, I always believe that no opportunity is lost. Somebody else will take it if you don't. And you need to give the best shot at it. Some I call this Cinderella syndrome. When the opportunity is presented, they just run away. And especially we have this with women leaders at the pinnacle. They are not ready to take that. You have to go and give that best shot. Work very hard, apply yourself. These are very basic stuff. You might think that I'm telling very basic stuff, but that is the reality. It is a reality. It is continuous learning, development, reading. All that is very important. We need to keep ourselves up to date. And not to always also look at giving excuses to yourself, to your supervisors. You need to, I think Kumar also mentioned, being that leader, being that champion, being the best in the world in whatever you do, trying to be the best in the world in whatever you do. It is not easy. Instead of trying to compete and waste time competing with the others, I think I saw especially this in Bangladesh. Because of competition, people try to compete with the others, waste a lot of energy on that. Kishu mentioned about promotion. You waste a lot of energy, you lose a lot of focus. Instead, you focus on delivering results. You compete with yourself. How can I up my game? How can I do better than yesterday? How can I deliver something better outcome than what I did before? You have to compete with yourself. I always try to do that. So these are very basic stuff. Very, very basic, very simple stuff. But the application of it day in, day out, every day will make you better. And even if your supervisor won't notice you, somebody else will. Somebody else will, for sure. And that's how I think it's not rocket science. I think all of you all, everyone is gifted. It's how you make use of that opportunity, how you apply yourself, how much you put into yourself, development, address your gaps, and that's about it. Rest of it happens.
So Supun's one was recorded, right? So you can replay the same and put my name on it. That's my answer as well. No, I think I addressed that in an indirect way. I had a thirst for recognition, and I thought if people tell me I'm good, that's the best thing, one can have. So I wanted to be therefore better than others. And in order to be better than others, I had to compete against all the weaknesses I had. So I wasn't this 15 years ago when I got the opportunity, or rather 17 years ago, when I got the opportunity. And that's because, as Supun said, as I said a while ago, all what I've done is just delivering results in the job given to me, which I did perfectly. And, my leaders looked at me and said, you have it in you. And in fact, when I was given the opportunity, because as I said, Caltex is a name that's known, but with Chevron, three expatriates, right? One of the largest energy companies in the world, 3 giant Americans, strong personalities, Kishu, Gomes, tiny fellow, hard worker, delivering results in sales and marketing, all of that fine, getting regional, global exposure by way of working with, principals, all of that. I didn't think that I had it in me, but because it was given to me, I thought, these guys may have seen something in me which I haven't actually realized that I have. So then I tried to discover myself, and then became more confident, applied myself, and under the 3 expatriates, the best this company did when Caltex had monopoly market in Sri Lanka was 800 million. And there were 3 expatriates, CEO plus 3 others. And today there isn't a single expatriate, it's all Sri Lankans. And I'm a listed company with 49% public shareholders. You can go into the net and see how well we are doing, 3.5 billion rupees. And I'm more profitable than Dialog. And I deliver a return on capital employed of over 60%, which is a dream for any business organization. Anything over 15% is good, 20% is very good. Anything above that is a miracle. But that's the kind of performance we're being able to so far deliver. And we're bringing in a lot of foreign revenue into the country as well in a non-traditional industry, lubricants, exporting lubricants to other countries, manufacturing here. Not something that's easy to do. So it's I have always had that desire to win for the people. I make bridges with people, right? You guys see me on various programs, and recently you may have seen me on a talent show. It was an accident, and I was given one program, and I couldn't say no to somebody there. Person known to me during my school days, a girl as well, so it is hard to say no to a girl. So I had to accept it, and I made some comments which they thought was very sensible and got me in the final. So and they said, after the finals that I, made it a show. So I'm pleased and I'm encouraged. So that's because, and it's a lot of commitment. Mind you, if you guys, go back and, check that on YouTube, I had technical comments to make in relation to all the acts that were staged on the stage that day, right? From beatbox to magic to acrobats to anything. So that's commitment. And all the other panelists took finals as another show, which I didn't want to do. I thought this is finals and it's live, and I'm participating in order to create an impression. I don't do anything to lose the brand equity I have as an individual. If I undertake something, I make it a point to add something to me and go back home, and hope I'm being able to do that. Even if I have not been able to do it, just pass that judgment on me so that I'll be happy, make me happy, because after all, I've come, sacrificing my personal time. So it's that, and I talked about hard work, all of that, yeah, it's that, and I believe sense of competition at an early age is so critical, to your success. If you have had that sense of competition and you've taken it as a challenge in order to be able to beat the others, you would always, want to continue to do it that way, and that takes you wherever you want to be. So yep, thank you.
All right.
This question is to Sanga. When you're playing, when sometimes they're given out when it is not out, so that how you change your mind, emotional impact on this, because I can remember when you were 195 were given out in Australia, where you were chasing a world record second innings total in a test match, and how you overcome that situation and to play for the next game.
Well, I think the first few minutes leading up to about 10 minutes from being given out, walking back to the dressing room and sitting in the dressing room, the words I say in my mind and out loud cannot be repeated here. So that's the first part of dealing with it, is to let it all out. While you're walking, you can't do it out loud because you get fined. So I'm mumbling in my head, but then I go into the dressing room, then everyone around usually hears what I have to say. Yeah, they move a bit, further away from me for a while. But then after my emotions have calmed down and I take a clinical view, I am a great believer in trying to make all important decisions from a detached perspective rather than being too emotionally involved in it. I always come up with one very simple explanation. I can only control what I can control, which is to go back, hit the nets again, work hard, and get ready for my next opportunity. There is nothing else that I can really do. I can't make a complaint against the umpire. It doesn't really matter. I can't go and change what has happened. But I can change, what I do from there onwards, or get back basically into the grind. And cricket, even though it's a sport, and a lot of people who work in offices think that working in an office is a grind, cricket is also a grind. Sometimes it's monotonous, it's repetitive. You just have to just make your mind up, strengthen yourself, and get into the gym at 6:37 in the morning, run 6 kilometers every day, train the same way sometimes over and over again. But that is the reality that you can't escape. If you want to get somewhere, there are certain things, whether you like them or not, you have to do. Muhammad Ali, I think I remember, used to say, there's a lot of things that I hated about my training and about what I do as a boxer. But I thought, I'll do all of the things I hate now and live the rest of my life as a champion. So these are, things that you understand. Vince Lombardi said a lot about perfection that Kishu spoke about. He said, we will relentlessly pursue perfection, knowing full well that we'll never achieve it, but along the way, we'll reach excellence. The little things like little sayings that people do, but actually these are things that we already know, right? We really don't need reminding of. So basically, whenever I'm faced with a situation like that, where I have absolutely no control over it, I don't waste my time over it once I've got over the initial 5-10 minutes. I get back to doing what I know I can do and try and do it better the next time.
Yes. Any more questions? Yeah, okay, Sandra.
But I think I'll ask a question from my boss. Sorry? Oh, okay. So, no, I think the question for Supun I have is, what has been the biggest challenge in this journey you've had from starting off at Dialog, coming back to Dialog as CEO, having to fill these shoes and the legacy of Dr. Hans Vijay Surya, who's Dialog himself, so he's a brand. Dialog is almost equal to this individual. And there's big shoes to fill, right? It's a big task, and it's a big company. So Supun, what was your biggest, how did you deal with it? Or how are you dealing with it even now?
Maybe I'll answer the last part first. Yeah, it is the, if you look at it as a challenge and if you as a real expectation from people, from the team, you can always get overwhelmed, because I think Dr. has actually, who has created this great organization and also driven Sri Lanka's telecommunications to where it is today. So it is indeed a privilege to succeed him. But again, I cannot be him, or I don't try to be him, or I don't try to be getting overwhelmed by that thought itself. I never think to look at stepping into his shoes per se. I don't look at thinking that how can I be Dr. Hans, because I cannot, and I don't aim to. I plan to, I think Hathu was earlier mentioning, being authentic, being who you are. So I always believe that he also has created a great team, that all of you all. And my task as a leader is to get the best out of you all and to navigate, create a great organization from where he has left. If I try to be him, then it will be the end of the day. And I don't try to do that, because I believe I have certain skills, capabilities that I can complement the team, extract the best from the team, and leave something better. Leave the team better than where I found them. So because of that, I really don't think, and the other greater advantage that I have is that I have him still as my boss, which I had last year as well. So I can always reach out to him for guidance, for advice. So I know that I'm not alone. And from there I'll connect to my challenge. When I went to Bangladesh in 2014, I felt I was alone. Especially at the top, you feel really lonely. And going into that unknown market, a lot of heavyweights. My senior team was at least 20 kilos heavier than me. And it is completely unknown challenge. And you felt really lonely in handling that market, because market was very tough, regulator was very tough. And along the way we decided to buy or merge with Airtel Bangladesh. And navigating that organization through that merger was, I would say, the biggest challenge, because once you get on to that, once you declare that you are merging, you are buying Airtel, so there's a lot of expectations, hope that comes along with that. The organization is really geared up. Okay, we are, because at the start I declared that I am going to make this company $1 billion company. We were at about $600 million. And this merger, all that was getting closer to that billion opportunity. But about 3 weeks down the road, the regulator changed, and government came with $100 million fee to complete the merger. And it was at the brink of collapse. Shareholders were saying, we cannot pay $100 million, it doesn't make sense. But there was a lot of expectations in the team. And I didn't want to also be a failure. I wanted to create a legacy for the organization and make it much stronger than where I found the company. So with a lot of persistence, perseverance, somehow we managed to complete it. So again, not giving up. Sometimes I spend days from morning till evening at the regulator's room, regulator's office, trying to clear this. Went back and forth. But it's about, in Bangladesh, Hatu knows, it's about perseverance. Not giving up. You get hit many times, but you cannot fall down. You need to wake up again, have a go at it. So that was, I would say, the biggest challenge. I think the other day, 2 weeks ago, I met some team from, some of the colleagues from Malaysia. So they thought middle of last year that the merger was off. It's not going to happen. And I would have had, one day the day that 100 million came, my colleague at Airtel also thought that it is the end. But we fought, and finally, as a team, we overcame that challenge. But I also didn't give that signal to the team that I'm going to give it up. Papers were writing, this is over, so many things happen, but as a leader also you have to, I think something that I learned from Dr. Hans was also how to convert uncertainty into certainty. And I try always to give that certainty to the team and always say that we will do it, we will make it happen. So that is kind of the biggest challenge, Sandra. And that's how we overcame. Thank you.
By the live audience. But let me just take one important question that everybody has. This is to Hathurusinghe and Sanga. Is about the current state of the Sri Lankan cricket team's performance. There's a lot of expectations after the three big senior players moved on, that the young players will take on their reins and start performing. But it seems to take much longer time than what is initially predicted or expected. So what do you think that these guys can do differently? And maybe things that you did initially when you took off the reins from players like Aravinda, Arjuna, and there was so many players, but you managed to take the country forward for a long number of years.
I think I haven't followed Sri Lanka cricket as much as Hathu would have planning to beat us over the last few years, because I think in 2013 or somewhere he said, next time we play Sri Lanka we're going to beat you guys, and it's actually come true. But I think, see, my job was to, when I came into the side, I had a period of consolidation so that I secured my place in the side first. I had a long-term goal, which was first to get 20 hundreds. And once I assessed myself, consolidated my position, found out exactly what I needed to do to get there, and I was way short of where I should be in the first year and a half of my career. The next was changing myself, planning, working hard, getting everything right so that I get there. I got to 20, then I thought, well, 25 is maybe 30, and it goes on and on. For the current Sri Lankan team, talent and potential is something I think everyone has. You take a guy off the street, he's got talent to some degree and potential to a larger degree. The real key is to have an environment where, whether it's a corporate or cricket administration, where that talent and potential is turned into ability and actual tangible performance. Without that, it's really an abstract. You don't know what is talent, what is potential, how do you measure that? You really can't without performance. So I think one of the main things that the current Sri Lankan team really needs is security and confidence, the ability to be different, the ability to be able to train in an excellent environment, to continuously challenge themselves at training, so that they're prepared for whatever challenge is presented to them on the field, but also to have some sort of continuity. You can't really have 44 players playing cricket, in a year's time in a one-day team where only 11 play at a time. So they've churned out 4 teams. which is unfortunate. A lot of people don't really, if you're not emotionally mature and mentally skilled enough, really thrive in an environment where everything is uncertain, where there's insecurity, and you're continuously looking either over your shoulder or above your head waiting for that sword to fall. And I think that's something that we have to change. We also have a structural issue with our first-class cricket that does not allow or funnel the best of the best through, because let's face it, cricket, not everyone can play. There is 11 and they have to be the best 11. Cricket at a national or international level is not about giving an opportunity to everyone. It is giving an opportunity to the best, and continuously to the best. If you're not good enough, I'm sorry, you are not going to play. You can be, you know, a great guy, a fantastic personality, yes, wonderful, all of that, but unfortunately, you can't play. You have to be competent, skilled, and have that utmost skill, and able to sustain that skill level over long periods of time. And unfortunately, through our first-class structure, we don't get that. And that is one of the main reasons. If you take Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh to a large extent, you have a huge churn rate of players. They come and go, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. That age group, players come, players go. We have so many players that come through this revolving door of selection that it's scary. Whereas if you get the more established sides that have had those structural changes made, which includes India now, selection is consistent because they continuously have an underpinning structure that funnels the best of the best through. So there are a variety of reasons. I may be completely wrong. It might be something completely different, but this is my idea and my opinion. And we have to give these guys some time as well. So let's see where they go. They have what we call talent and potential. But now it's time for everyone to deliver performances over a long period of time. I believe they will with time, but a long-term vision is a necessity. But to get there, you need to win. You need to win in the short term. You need to win the next game. If you don't win it, you don't win the next one. People lose faith. Changes happen. Again, you know, we'll be talking about the same thing a couple of years down the line. So hopefully these guys will win. They have the ability, I think, to win. Hopefully they're converted in the next one-day game that we play on Saturday.
Yeah, Hathurusinghe, you want to add on that one? Yeah.
I think Sanga articulated very well. I don't think I'm in a technical position to tell a lot of things as well. But 6 months ago, we praised everyone. The best team, we beat Australia 3-0. Best coaches, best fielding side in the world, everything.
I like the way he still says we beat. Because he's still included in his
Yeah. Yeah. Although I live in Australia, yeah. So it was good. His talent is there. So it can't be 6 months down the line they're so bad. So they need to find the way, what's going wrong. So that's up to the people who are in charge of at this time. So as Sanga said, it's stability is the one word I think it's needed at this stage. I'll correct you a little bit. After 8 months in Bangladesh, we played with 23 players, not many. So we have stability back in Bangladesh. We found when you found your right talent, right players combination, you only change for tactical reason. I'll go back to 2007, 2008. I had a conversation with, at that time, the selectors. I was a team coach of Sri Lanka. I said, they used to play about 60 odd players in A-team cricket. And when I took over 2007, I asked one request. I said, give me 15 players, and I'll find 2 players will play for 10 years. So that's kind of a stability that you need in a cricketing environment. And one of them is, at that time, I asked for is Angelo Matthews. So you can see if you find the right talent and right people, then if you persevere with them, you get the stability.
All right, ladies and gentlemen. That's the amount of time being allocated. I know a lot of you might be quite disappointed not to have more time to spend with these legends of the game and the superstars of industry. So on behalf of the organizers and everyone, we would like to thank you for embracing this occasion. And why don't all of us give a big round of applause to our panel today. All right.
Panelists for Supun for accepting the invitation and being a part of the Change Forum and being a support for it. Chandik Hathurusinghe, again, thanks for taking time from your hectic schedule to share with us some numerous challenges and to follow our passion. Kumar Sangakara, thank you so much. He's just left, but he's been a great supporter of the Change Forum and the community. Kishu Gomes for sharing your personal steps to success and your bold views. To Neela, who's also departed earlier, for motivating and giving all new perspective to change. Then, of course, she also spoke on how drastically the world can change by small means of change that we induct. And to everyone in the Dialog family, Dr. Hans for being the strongest advocate of the Change Forum, for pushing it beyond the walls of Dialog. Sandra, who's given it wings with the inspiring ideas. Without all of them, this forum would not have been a reality. Also, thank you so much to our moderator, Dumidu. We have a token of appreciation for him too. I'd quickly request Sandra to hand it over to him. Ladies and gentlemen, Dumidu, our moderator. Thanks a lot, Dumidu. Special thanks to Kapil, Rochelle, Cham, Tanya, Leshani, Shashin, Kusho, Chatura, Rekha Prabha, Devnan, the content management team, everyone at GSD, HR team, marketing, and the Papare, and also the content team for supporting us in doing this, and of course for Prashanthan for being the driving force and the innovator of the Change Forum. Thank you so much, everyone, for being here once again. Good night. You've got refreshments served outside. Please grab a few before you go home and have yourselves a great night. Thank you so much, everyone.